All right, folks, we're here at the last test of this urine saliva analysis testing procedure. This is the Ureas. There's two parts to this test. We're going to be doing the nitrate nitrogen, which is the anionic form of the test, and the cationic nitrogen, or the ammoniacal nitrogen, which is the cationic part of the test. Let's get started right now. Basically, this test is testing undigested protein, and we'll get into more of what that means. If you're a client of mine, I'll explain more of that as we talk, and if you're a student, we'll get into all the meanings of that in the lessons. Now, if you remember, we talked about having a basin or a container with baking soda and water in it to make sure that if we had a spill. Well, everything we've done so far has been really non-dangerous, but this is the part of the test that has the greatest potential for someone to get hurt from. So what we're going to do here, this is where I would highly recommend that you do put the glasses on. You've noticed I've worn gloves for the rest of the test, but now comes the part where we want to put our safety goggles on. I'm going to wait just for a minute here while I get the basin ready with the baking soda. Okay, first of all, I wanted to explain one thing. Because we're filming and we have some pretty hot lights on here, these are from the pHs of the urine and the saliva, and they've completely dried out because of the heat coming down. This is not normal to see in a normal test situation, because you're generally done in as fast as 6-7 minutes if you do the short test, but about 10 minutes for the way we're doing the test. So when you see that on the film, just remember that the reason that came about was it got dried out because of the hot lights. So what we're going to do, let's create our neutralization container here. So I'm going to open up this I need a knife here or something to poke it with. Let's see, this probably will work. No, that's not working very well. Could you get me something, dear? I gotta get something to cut this open with, folks. Sorry for the delay here. Knife right there on the counter. Okay. So we're gonna open this. There we go. Tell you, when you have the right tool, everything works simple. And we are going to, let's move this out of the way so we don't spill that there, and we're going to pour that in here. For this amount, that's about enough. You could say a quarter cup in about, what are we looking at? 16 ounces of water, something like that. That's plenty. That'll do the job, and I'm going to show that what happens. I'm going to be showing what happens right in front of the camera when we put our plate in there, so we can see the neutralization happening. I might even show you a little bit of what goes on in the plate itself too. Okay, the urea test. You remember that this bottle, we put in our universal extracting solution. This is the first thing we're going to need for the urea test. We are going to I'm going to draw that up into the pipette, and you're probably best to leave this in the foam block instead and just draw it up, but for purposes, because I'm far away doing this film, it's not quite that easy. What you're going to do here is we're going to drop 6 drops of the universal extracting solution into one of these culture tubes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to take it and put it right back. You notice what I did first. I squeezed the excess out, and then I screwed the pipette cover back on. I'm going to put that in there just for now, for a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our urine pipette. We're going to draw up enough, and what I like to do is get it right down there ready to go. I squeeze out a few drops, and we're going to drop 1 drop of urine, just 1, into those 6 drops. We're going to put the tube there, and then we're going to take a brand new pipette. We used to take the old one here, shake it off, wipe off the end, and use it as our agitator, but I am convinced now that you're just better off using a brand new pipette. So we're going to take a brand new pipette, we're going to put it in the 6 drops of extraction solution and the 1 drop of urine, and we are going to agitate it by squeezing the bulb. You'll notice it going in and out, in and out. We're going to squeeze it either 120 times or for 1 minute. I like the 120 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 80. 100. That's 120, give or take. Well, actually give, probably about 125. Okay, so that's done. That's all set. And now the next thing we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 1 drop of this solution and we're going to put it in well number 3. We're going to take it and put it back here. We're then going to take your ammoniacal nitrogen. That's the plastic bottle. It says ammonia nitrogen right on there, test solution. We're going to squeeze up enough in here to get 4 drops, and we're going to put those 4 drops in well number 6. Remember that now. Not well 3, well 6. There's nothing in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I squeeze everything out real good, put that back in. We're now going to take the test tube again, the culture tube, test tube, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to drop 1 drop of our solution, urine extraction solution, in well number 6. We're going to put that back there now because we've now used that. And now we're going to take the sulfuric acid, 95% sulfuric acid.
It should stay in the well.
There's 2 ways of doing it. You can leave it in the foam block, which is probably the best way. That's your least chance for a spill. Or you can take it out and hold on to it this way. I'm having to do it this way because of the filming today, but you would be much safer if you left the bottle always in the foam block. Then you can never have it tilt over and all of it comes spilling out. That's where your biggest issue is going to be if something like that happens. So
put your glasses on.
Yes, and this would be the test. I'm sorry, these 2 tests would be the one you should have put your glasses on for. So we're going to take this, we're going to draw up the sulfuric acid, the nitrate nitrogen solution, and we are going to drop 4 drops in well number 3, and we're going to drop them at 12, 3, 6, and 9
o'clock.
O'clock. Right around the clock you go. I mean, if you want to do it at 2, 8, 2, and 8, you can. The point is to do it evenly all around. Screw that back on. Again, notice how I got rid of all that excess sulfuric acid and put it and made sure this pipette cover is clean as possible, because it's when you leave the excess in that you're going to have the most trouble with the bulbs burning out on you and having to use extra, having to use the extra ones you bought. Now, the ammoniacal nitrogen reads in 20 seconds. And that's why we dropped that in first. But the nitrate nitrogen takes 5 minutes. We've had it in there for 30 seconds. So I'm going to set this timer for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But normally you would have it set for 5 minutes already, which I should have had done, and then you just push the start. And we're going to let the timer go. And while that's going, we're going to take a look at our ammoniacal nitrogen test and see what we got. Now, you could see how dark it got. I really believe the heat here is having some kind of an effect, because these colors normally don't change this way.
And the specimen is getting old.
And the specimen itself is getting old also. But if you saw the color of that specimen when it first came in, it wasn't quite a 10, but it was getting this darker color here, which wasn't present in the 8. And I would call it a 9. And unfortunately, this is not going to show up very well. Well, you can see a little bit of the brown there. You probably are thinking, well, Mr. Olszta, Michael, I don't see the ring like it is in number 9. It's very important to understand that we look first to color, and then we look at the rings. The rings are secondary at this test. Color is always number 1. And always remember that. And again, I believe these tests are being influenced also by the oldness of the sample, but also by the heat, because I've never seen the sample change like that before in this manner. So that's it. We are finished, except we're waiting for the nitrate nitrogen to develop, and this is time that you can spend getting other things done. The one thing I do need to do, though, is that was a 9. So for the ureas, the ammoniacal nitrogen, and the way this is really supposed to be written is it's supposed to be a little higher than the pH line was. So you would have a 9 written there, and then we're waiting for our final development here, and we may not even get anything. It doesn't even look like it's going to develop into much, but we'll see. The person who we tested was very tired. And a lot of times that happens to the ureas when people are tired. The top number just drops real low. So when and again, we can look at it here on the sheet here. We call this the NH4 because that's the type of nitrogen you're testing for. The ammonia nitrogen is NH4. N is nitrogen, H is hydrogen. So what you're looking at is 1 atom of nitrogen and 4 atoms of hydrogen. Okay. And again, we're letting that develop. And in this time period, you don't want to get rid of this right now. And the reason you don't want to get rid of this, even though you could to clean up, what if you have to do the test over again? You want to do it over. Well, if you get rid of that, then you've got to redo it. You've got to waste another culture tube and do another pipette. So just let everything sit. But you can put your other equipment away if you like. And you can wash some things up if anything you have needs washing. At this point, really, all we have to do is we're just going to wash these pipettes and we're going to do this plate. So we're in a pretty good place now to... I'll explain some things about washing up. After this is done, we're going to put this in here. We're going to neutralize this really good. And then what we would do is we would take all our equipment and we would put it into a sudsy water, and we would rinse everything really good, including the pipettes. But always take the rubber bulbs off. Don't wash them. Always remove them and put them in another little box or something, or a cup. And we scrub everything real good. And then after we do that, then we rinse everything real good. 10, 15, 20 rinses of regular tap water. And then after you're done rinsing with the tap water, then you would rinse really well with distilled water, another 5, 10 rinses. And what I like to do is use my fingers, not with the gloves on. Oh, we'll get back that minute. you can hear the timer has gone off. And so we're going to look and see if we have any reading there. And as you can see, there's nothing. It's a 1. Even when it's blank, it's a 1. So, this person's numbers are a 3.3, a 6.3 over 7.3, 13.7C, 4M plus a 1 over 9. These types of numbers, we'll get into explaining what all this means later on if you're taking the class. So now is time for cleanup. So what I want to show you a little bit of right now, just so you can see the reason that we have this basin, okay, is I would like to show you, if the camera can see this. When the sulfuric acid is 0 on the pH scale. And when you use baking soda, that's going to be up close to 14. And watch what happens. What is happening there is that the anions, or the alkaline ions, are resisting the acid ions, and they're literally releasing all their energy up into the air. Now, the reason we have the water solution here is if, for example, we should spill that on the floor, or somebody should get it on their hand, or even on the gloves, you want to dip your hand right in there immediately, because this has all that baking soda in it, and what it would do is it would neutralize it very fast. Okay, so what we do though instead is we just take this whole plate, and you see that? You probably, well, hopefully you saw the little bubbles going. I should have brought it over, but you can see how it neutralizes. And once it's done bubbling around, that's it. It's neutralized, and it's very safe to just pick it up and take it out, bring it to your sink. And I'm just going to show you here, instead of going to the sink, what I do. Let's say you have it, you've poured out you've got this sitting in your sink now, and you've thrown your pipettes and everything else in there, and you want to work your wells with your thumbs like this. Let's say you used them all, and you'll hear the squeakiness, okay, of them. And you could have taken off your gloves if you want, and just use your hands. It's your choice either way. And again, after that's all nice and clean now, then what you're going to do is you're going to rinse this off again, like I said, with a lot of flowing water. And then after that, you're going to do a lot of distilled water on it. And finally, after you know that it's completely clean, you're going to take a 50-50 solution of alcohol and distilled water. And as I said, you could use it in your wash bottle here, but I would suggest getting a new wash bottle, so you can have one with just pure water in it and one with distilled water in it and alcohol. And what you would do with your alcohol and your distilled water, you would just just cover the whole thing with a shot of it, making sure it gets all over. And then you would want to stand that up somewhere, having some paper underneath it, and just let it drip dry. And with the alcohol in the distilled water, it's going to help it dry that much faster. The same thing with your pipettes. As I said, you take the bulbs off, and you throw them in a small, wherever you're going to keep them, and they might be a little wet from your hands handling things. They want to dry off. Again, these would go in the sudsy water, and then you let the water flow through them. We don't throw these away. There's no need of throwing these away because water flows through them. And what you're going to do is clean them real good, and then you're going to flow that water through it real good, and really do a good cleaning with the the regular tap water, flush it out real good. Then you're going to flush it with distilled water, a real good cleaning. And you take your, and then you can take your spray bottle. And then what you do is take your spray bottle again with your distilled water and alcohol. Make sure that it flows up and over the top. Let's see if I can get that to do that, like that. And then on the outside. And then what you do is you take these and you would throw that into a cup like this and put your pipettes just like that, and they'll dry nicely in there. Or you can shake them out too, that might help. And that pretty well takes care of it. Now again, remember, you have to try and imagine I did all that in a sink because these are still dirty the way they are. And also I did tell you that this tube goes in the trash. You don't reuse these because water cannot flow through, and that means it could be very difficult to get it out. And 250 of them for about 17, 18 bucks, it's not worth the risk. And that takes care of the test. You're all finished. And that's the Reams urine saliva test. With this test, I will send you you will also be included the lessons how to do these tests, which gets into other details that we didn't get into here, and that will answer probably a lot of questions that you didn't have answered in the video here. But you've seen the visual, and you should really have no troubles doing it, but I'm available for help if you need it. Thank you very much.